What is up, everybody? It's Christmas, and I'm going live because uh, our stuff's done. Our stuff's already done. When your kids get old enough, like, so my youngest is 16, so like he's gone doing stuff. Nobody's here. My wife's upstairs napping. What's up, everybody? I just wanted to let you know that I am uploading a new video that it's a deep dive. I'm just gonna spend 30 minutes and I'm going over different competitor sites and trying to figure out what they have that I don't have. I think that we got stuck in a little bit of an SEO quagmire, if you will, where if your site got totally shredded by the HCU or one of the updates that subsequently came after it, then you're looking at all these new SERPs and all these new results and going like, well, mine's better than that. I've got firsthand experience. I've got firsthand knowledge. I have, but in reality, Google says, so what? And so I think that because of that, we have to flip the way that we're thinking about our blogs and our websites. We have to stop thinking like, well, here's what mine has that one doesn't have. I think we have to start thinking more in terms of like, well, so what is it that has that mine doesn't have? And you have to set aside your own personal feelings about your blog quality and their blog quality. You got to put all that aside because Google says doesn't matter. So the video that I'm uploading is a 30-minute video where I go through several of the keywords, my most recent keywords that I have lost, and I look at what replaced me or what has moved up in the rankings. And so what's going to happen is I think that I do 3 or 4 of those keywords, and I'm just going to show you how I'm approaching looking at those different articles and figuring out, well, what is it? Hey, Philip, good to see you, man. You having any better luck on your situation over there? It's been a bad week, man. So one of the things I point out in my newest video is that I was down 90%. What up, no shame? Yeah, man, it is poop. I was down 90%. I'm down 95% now over just the course of the last week. And so the video that I just set up to upload has some of that detail. But, the reason that I uploaded this video, it's a long one. It's like 30 minutes. I don't expect anybody to watch it all the way through, but I just did like a real-time walkthrough of different competitors and for keywords that I have lost. And so I just want to figure out like what it is that Google loves about them so much and what it seems to not like about my site. And it's actually pretty interesting because as I'm going through, let's see, Shame says, had better traffic after getting a manual penalty than I do after the, yeah. It's a different kind of spanking, what they're doing right now. It is a spanking. It's like whenever you get a spanking from a parent and they won't tell you why, you're just like, because you exist. You exist, you little punk. Like it's kind of it's odd. So if you guys get a chance, watch the video that I'm uploading right now. It's a long one. And even if you catch parts of it. So I'm going through and I am trying to figure out, I'm looking at things for my competitors, like I'm checking out DR competition to figure out, well, what is it that they've got from over me as far as DR? I'm looking at backlinks per article. Like, okay, so the ones that are ranking in front of me, what do they have as far as backlink numbers go? Is there anything that sort of makes sense? And then I go to each website and I look at the article for each one of those, and I dig through the article to try to figure out structurally what's on the page there that mine doesn't have. And then I'll look at the home page for each one of those competitors that is now beating me. And I'll try to identify just from a site-wide standpoint, what do each of those have? And I'll just tell you right now, there was a couple of things that really stood out to me. Why am I so far down on my video? What happened? Here we go. But now you can see well, whatever. There's a few things that I thought was really interesting from an SEO standpoint that I saw on several articles that are beating me. And these are sites that usually had lower DRs. They usually had inferior backlinks. And they're still beating me. Philip, what's up? Hey, I've had 5 sites. The only site that wasn't hit by a website without any affiliate links or advertising. So, okay. It's a service-based website, DR19, other first site. Well, so one of the things you're going to notice, so Philip, if you watch my video that's uploaded now, so whenever I'm going through, my new competitor sites, I'm actually seeing sites that I don't know if I know that there was some thought that maybe overly appreciate that that overly doing like advertisements or especially like Mediavine got a lot of like attention during that might cause an impact. But if you watch my news video, what you're going to see is that several of the competitors with lower DRs and lower, sometimes extremely lower backlink counts are ranking higher, and they have, uh, frankly, just a ton of ads. And like there were some that I'm going to show you on that video that had ads that I could hardly navigate around at some point. And so there might be some value to it. There might be some truth to it. And I don't think that with all of these penalties, I don't think that there's any world where um, one thing is the thing. I think it's just like a bunch of just things thrown together and it all sort of like creates a final calculation. But it's hard for me. It's sort of like the backlinks for me, right? Like the backlinks for me, I felt like there was a lot of people that said, well, it's probably backlinks. It's your domain authority or your perceived authority, right? That's called, but a lot of these that I'm going to show you in this video that I'm uploading had far inferior backlinks and sometimes even far superior DRs on top of that. But the backlinks just weren't there. I have beaten most of these on the video you're going to see as far as backlinks go. Now, again, it could be a combination of a little bit of the ads and a little bit of the backlinks and a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But there are a couple of things that I felt like were in the video that stood out to me that were predominantly on almost everything that I looked at that's beating me. And those things were almost everything offered a transactional opportunity on the site outside of affiliate stuff. So like, and Philip, I'd be curious from you if on the 4 of yours that got hit, do any of them offer transactional opportunity to sign up or to like buy, not for like newsletter, but do any of them offer an opportunity to like become a member or to purchase or a cart type of thing? And the reason I'm asking is because almost everything that I saw in my audit, which is in the video uploading now, had a transactional opportunity on it somewhere. Like, so there'd be a cart, there would be a shop, and these were not affiliate things. These were things like there was a couple of them that were like gyms, right, where you could sign up for a gym, with a gym program or something like that, right? So, what about your other one, the fifth one, Philip, that you said seemed to have done better? Is there any sort of opportunity there transactionally, or also sort of similar? Be curious about that. So that was the first thing that I noticed was transactional opportunity. Yeah, e-commerce sites have been spared in the. So here's what I'm wondering about the. Okay, so it's touch base just real quick on that. Shame is part of me wonders if because the transactional ones have been spared or did well, right? So you can maybe try to read between the lines just a little bit on that, or at least I've been reading between the lines. And you just go like, okay, so is that because that then gives the perception that it is a business? Like from Google's standpoint, have they sort of phrased or reframed? That's the only one that is done well. No, they don't. That's the only one that is done well, Philip. Are you saying that the fifth one did have a transactional opportunity, or nada? I'd be curious if that one did. So, so did Google reframe what it is to be a business? So us having blogs with affiliate stuff in it, we made money, right? But with all of the updates that came out, because we're seeing a lot of this where these e-commerce looking stores have maintained, survived, or thrived during all of these updates. Is that a thing? Several of the things I'm going to show you in this video that I'm uploading are far inferior DRs, far inferior backlinks. And even I think whenever you look at the video, you're just going to kind of think like, why is this ranking so high? But they've got e-commerce opportunity built into the site. So that was one of the things that I thought was really interesting. The other thing that I thought that I saw in several different places were ways to engage within the website. And so that would be comprised of either, but it was still there. So still gets that point or that juice, right? Or there were opportunities to sign up for like newsletters, right? It would say join now or subscribe, or there'd be something in the footer maybe that said email sign up or get our whatever the thing was, right? So that was the other thing that I saw. Those two things predominantly. Again, I was looking at these articles with the idea and the mindset of what do they have that that I am missing. I was trying to sort of disregard content, quality of content. I was trying to disregard sort of quality of like the aesthetics and stuff. I'm just looking for like the nuts and bolts, like what's under the hood here. What does this have that mine doesn't have? And those two things I saw on, I bet, I didn't count how many in total, but 90% of the articles that are beating me, that's what those things had that I didn't. Philip says, I think you're right. I have updated my main site that made money with EEAT, re-edited my articles, added services, no changes. Yeah, that's interesting. CCU, seeing a daily 10% loss daily traffic each day since last week, down more than 50% now. At this rate, not sure Google is trying. Hey, I know that feeling, man. In my news video, so I've actually lost. So if you've watched my previous video, CCU, and I think you have, I've talked about how I lost 90% of my traffic post HCU. I'm down 95 now. So like over the course of the last week, that thing that you're talking about has not spared me. During the HCU, in those couple of weeks after, that was my lowest traffic point, but I never got to under 100 clicks. I hit 77 this week and 76. And I think I'm probably today at, let me just do a quick refresh on, I bet I'm at 60 something. It refreshed already. Let me check to see. Oh God, it's 67. So mathematically speaking, that's called a turd sandwich, I think is what that is. So when you go from 1,300 to 1,500 a day, and now you're down to 67. So, and that's not to diminish your loss, because that when you're 50% or more, it all stinks. It's all pretty difficult, but it is whatever is happening right now is, it's hitting a lot of people. And again, nobody has an exact answer of what's actually going on. So, and that's frustrating. In fact, this is one of the first times where I've looked around and nobody seems to have a good answer. At least in the other updates, what was happening was nobody had a for sure answer, but they all had speculation because they were using what Google was at least saying they were trying to do, and they were building their speculation off of Google's, like, just probably Google guesses. But this time there's nothing. There's nothing for anybody to build speculation off of. So people are just in the dark right now. Next move would be to take all the content and drop it on a fresh or expired domain. I've seen a lot of people mention this, and this is tough because one of the things for me, right? Well, actually, let me back up. So there was some, Google had said that there was this site-wide disqualifier that if it didn't like something about your site, whether it was like one article about it, there was some sort of concern that they could disqualify essentially your entire site based off of one or two low quality or low performing articles, which is fine, whatever. But what was strange to me was during a lot of this that I had written a couple of new articles, which expert in, it was something that I had just discovered in my niche, health and fitness stuff. And I was like, and so Google said, oh, he's an expert. And I got a decent amount of traffic. I had traffic from my low during the HCU. And so it was odd. That happened a couple of times. And I thought, well, why am I getting, if my site has been disqualified, why am I getting rewarded for articles that I am admittedly saying I am not as much of an expert in as the other couple hundred articles that are already on my site? So there does seem to be some sort of a something in relation to, but here's my caution with redoing it all, right? Is that can't be it. Like that can't, I think that it is a valid thought right now, right? I think the idea of redoing everything is a valid thought, but surely Google can't be that flimsy to where it's just a matter of it being new. You know what I mean? Like it's, at some point they're going to figure out, I think, unless they're just getting buried under AI. But I think at some point what's going to happen is they're going to figure out how to read between the lines and understand the quality of the content. I think right now they can't do that. I think actually they're kind of admitting, because of the whole spam situation, of like, yeah, we know there's spam in the top results. We're working on it. In other words, there's spam there, not supposed to be. In other words, we're having problems understanding the difference between spam and quality. But that's not going to go on forever. And so my concern would be Yeah, so I saw that too about the update. I actually saw there was a tweet that went out today and it was fake. There's a really good what is the channel? Let me see what it's called. Or the it's called Google Search Honesty. What is the handle? At Google Honesty. And it is a fantastic parody Twitter account if you haven't followed it already, where they're just basically trolling Google with pretending sort of like they're Google, but they're trolling Google. Today they had done one saying that today we released the December 2023 core update, which they didn't, but I didn't know that at the time. It says this update will roll out mainly to English speaking countries first. We're calling this one the Steal Your Christmas Turkey update. So that's a really good account if you haven't seen it already. So that's the thing is I understand the idea of there seems to be some sort of Google seems to like the freshness of something right now, but surely it just seems like a ridiculous model for them to actually be supporting because then what's going to happen is everybody's going to go through that and they're going to be essentially reposting the same stuff that they were posting before. And then Google is going to have to re-index all of that stuff. I think that the freshness thing has more to do with their inability to be able to differentiate between quality update and not quality update than it has to do with anything else. That's not to say that that doesn't end up being the right solution whenever it's all said and done. It just seems like it seems like such a silly workaround if Google's rollouts were actually doing what they intended for it to do. If the fix was to simply repurpose, you'd go like, well, that seems crazy, but okay. You know what I mean? It just feels weird. Again, that's not to say that's a bad idea because who knows what ends up happening at this point, but it just feels like that's more of a glitch in the matrix, you know what I mean, than it is anything else. So that, like I said, that video that I've got updating and uploading right now, it's about a 30-minute long video. And I know that that's long and most people aren't going to watch it, but I wanted to do just a real-time site audit to just kind of show you, I'm just going to show you some of the most recent keywords that I lost. I'm going to show you who took those over and try to dig through them to try to figure out where I'm still missing out on my site, what it is that my site still is not doing well. Because we have gotten into a little bit of a bad pattern of assuming that everybody else's sites are worse than ours. And I think from a quality, you can look at it from two different ways. There's a quality standpoint, right? And you can look at yours and go, well, mine's better than that, right? I have the firsthand, I have the EEAT, and I'm experienced. This is mine. I did this thing in person. This is AI, etc. But I think that Google has proved to us, if nothing else, that the quality of the articles is either irrelevant or that they're just unable to differentiate quality between different sites. So it's relying a ton, I think, on other types of things now. And so I wanted to figure out, well, what are those things? What is it that seems to be a pattern amongst the things that are basically kicking our butt? And I'm seeing, here's what's crazy. And I'm just rambling. I appreciate you guys hanging out on Christmas. So my youngest is 16. So like they go to their dad's house and the rest of the day is just my wife's upstairs watching TV and it's dope. This was my favorite Christmas this year because from a decoration standpoint, we just put up a tree. It was awesome. So my easiest one so far. What was I saying? Oh, so what was really interesting about this is a lot of the sites that I am now also seeing are sites with minimal DRs, minimal backlinks with authority. Some of them have like no backlinks. And whenever you go back and you actually look at their traffic trends, you can see a lot of them right around the HCU 17th, 18th, 19th of September started to shoot up. No drop hardly whatsoever. And again, I saw one that had almost quadrupled its traffic. And I think that it was a DR7, maybe with very few backlinks, very few much of anything. And it's really easy, I think, to get wrapped up in that and just go, mine is better. But I think we just got to get around that. I think we have to get away from that idea of like, we have to of pooping on the other sites. We can't keep doing that, right? I think we have to poop on our own sites. And so here's a story. I'm going to tell you guys a little story since you're hanging out. By the way, again, thanks for hanging out with me for Christmas. If you haven't already, appreciate you hitting the likes on this. I don't do lives. This is actually my first live during this for this channel. I've done them on my health and fitness channel before, but obviously if you guys dicking through your websites, probably like me. So here's a backstory. So back in 2004, and this ends up coming into play with my site. Okay. So back in 2004, I was in a local band, right? And we were a band that started to do pretty good, started to get some national notoriety, had done some pretty good tours, etc. And so we were downstairs in our basement one day practicing. We had a practice schedule. We all lived in the same house. And we were having a conversation with ourselves about how good are we actually? And the conversation was something along the lines of like, all of our friends say that we're great. And people that we know are basically, which is nice, but we can't really trust them because they know us, their family, their friends, their fans locally, whatever. And we kind of had this conversation about if we want to take things to the next level, we have to get critical about what we're doing. We have to start looking for like where we're falling short intentionally and stop trying to be nice to ourselves. And maybe in some way that's what we have to do with it. For us, that's whenever things really started to take off. It was like all of a sudden we sort of got rid of the fluff and we're like, okay, let's fix the thing. We're not going to ignore the stuff that's not good. We got to fix the stuff that's not good or not good enough. And so I think maybe in some way we have to do the same thing with our sites. And we have to stop looking at the competition as undeserving. And maybe we have to look at ourselves, maybe a little bit of that. And that's hard because I think we poured so much of our heart and soul into our sites, especially if you wrote a lot of them yourself or spent a lot of time on it through whatever means. It's probably easy to get personally butthurt that we didn't do it good enough, but it's not our opinion, it's the traffic. You know what I mean? Like the traffic ultimately is the one that's dictating on whether or not we did it good enough. And for whatever the rules are and whatever the parameters are that qualify something as good, we're not in it. And so that's it. So that's all that I had for you guys. Just wanted to jump on a quick live, let you know that video is currently uploading. It'll be out. Well, because it's 30 minutes, it's going to take some time. What is this right here? Is this I see that on there. Oh no, I think that's toothpaste on a black shirt. That's not going to go well. Thanks y'all so much for hanging out with me just for even a little bit. Appreciate the comments. Hopefully you find that video to be helpful. I'd be curious to hear if you do your own audit. You know, these are just the parameters that I'm looking for on mine, but your niche might differentiate. Like I recommend looking at the actual article page for each article that's actually beating you. And I also recommend going to the actual homepage after you look at that and try to look at it just from a site-wide standpoint. You know, like I was looking in the footers for like different types of links that they didn't have. You know, try to look at it from a micro and a macro perspective, both. So appreciate you guys watching. Hope you enjoy that video whenever it's uploaded, and have happy holidays if that's your jam. If not, have a good Monday. See you guys.